Hello, everyone. My name is Jarek Wilkiewicz, and I'm here with JJ Behrens.
Hey, nice to see you.
Nice seeing you. A long time no see.
I think since lunch.
Exactly. And today we'll talk about YouTube for your business, which is a webinar that JJ recently published on YouTube. So we have a couple of questions for you, JJ.
Yep.
You ready?
I hope so.
Okay, so the first question is, I watched this seminar, it's very interesting, but I never knew what was going to come next. So, you cover a lot of ground. What triggered you to actually create a seminar that covers so much ground in 15 minutes?
Well, considering you've given this talk like umpteen billion times, trying to surprise you is pretty hard. I had this idea that I wanted to start with very non-technical examples and then migrate to very technical examples. And all along the way, I want to show you something, talk about it, show you how I did it, and then give you a take-home message. And so that's really where it's at. And I really kind of did want to surprise the user because there's so many different ways you could use YouTube. I wanted to keep them guessing.
Cool, that makes sense. You definitely had me guessing. So, question about some of the content that you covered. I really like the video, New Dork. I think it's timeless.
I have to watch it like daily.
Exactly. I think it definitely put me in the right state of mind.
Absolutely.
I didn't quite get the part when you talked about how Grasshopper benefits from having published the video on YouTube. Like, how do people know that, hey, this is Grasshopper or this is the product that is being advertised? All I see is, an awesome artist and his backup singer, equally, if not more awesome. And, how do I actually make the connection with Grasshopper?
She was pretty awesome, wasn't she? Yeah, Grasshopper, well, it works a couple different ways. So there's metadata for the video, and so the metadata has a link to grasshopper.com. And there's also basically ad placement in the video for grasshopper.com. And those two things together are basically a great way to spread the message of grasshopper.com. And the greatest thing about this is that, it goes viral, right? I can't stop watching that video because I love watching that guy sing about random things and show pictures of famous people in the background. And so it's like awesomely free advertising.
So is the metadata something that they had to pay for, or how does the user actually encounter the link to Grasshopper?
No, it's free, and when you upload a video to YouTube, you could pick your own description and so forth, and you could embed whatever you want in the video.
I see.
To some degree, of course. We have rules, but
so
yeah.
the URL to Grasshopper is basically in the description, and that's what drives the referral traffic.
That's right.
Got it. Okay, great. Another video that you showed is the original skateboards video.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, how are your skateboarding skills?
Well, you can't see it because it's below the table, but I have scars all over my body, which, it's not pretty. So definitely,
Not so good.
Not so good,
So what type of skateboard do you have, or you're planning to buy in the near future?
So I was a street skater. I did a little bit of downhill as a kid, which results in lots of long scars with heavy scarring flesh. But yeah, I suck at skateboarding. I was glad to finally discover programming because I was finally good at that.
Cool. Maybe you should just watch that video instead.
I know. That video makes me want to buy a skateboard, I'll tell you that
Definitely. So you talked about YouTube Direct and how this product, the open source project, is great for soliciting user-generated content. So the question I have, since this is a talk about YouTube for your business, is suppose I'm not a developer. How do I deploy it? And then how much time will it take me? Can you tell me a little more about what's involved in actually getting it set up for a business?
Yeah, so YouTube Direct is not the easiest thing to set up. I mean, if you go through the instructions, it walks you through setting up Eclipse. And as soon as you say Eclipse, you're going to lose like 30% of developers out there. But we have a session coming up at Google I/O that somehow talks about this thing called YouTube Direct Lite. And I'm just guessing, I don't know for certain, but I'm guessing that Lite means something and that it might be easier for people going forward.
So if you are a developer, what skills do we need to have in order to, get it all going? What are all the major pieces that you need to be familiar with in order to deploy it?
So to deploy YouTube Direct, you don't actually have to alter any source code. It's a Java application and it uses Google App Engine, and so you don't actually have to do any coding to set it up. It was fairly hard to set up for people who weren't coders at all, didn't know how to do things with, Eclipse and installing the right applications. I think it's going to get even easier in the future, and I think we're going to get to a situation where you don't have to be a developer at all.
So I hear YouTube Direct is written in Java.
Yep.
So what do you think about that?
Well, there's a lot of people who really like Java. That's what I think about that.
That's a very diplomatic answer, JJ.
Thanks.
What happened to you?
Well,
Is it late in the day, or you didn't have your caffeine yet? Or
Well,
what's the problem?
I am a Python guy and a Ruby guy.
I'm trying to get you going.
Jeez. Are we going to go into Emacs versus VI as well?
Maybe next time. Okay, good. So sounds like it's really not that big of a deal as long as you have some skills and
That's
you
right.
know
That's
how to
right.
use the App Engine. Cool. So you talked about coffee table applications. So my question is, are these applications spill-proof?
Well, that's a great question. So I should first start off with explaining what a coffee table application is. So tablets are pretty popular these days, and 955 Dreams is a company that has a few different applications, including the history of jazz and band of the day. And these applications are just beautiful. You just want to play with them. It's like you pick it up, and you're like, I want to play with this thing. And so there's this idea that you just put these applications on a tablet and you leave them on your coffee table, whereas in the past we used to have like art books on your coffee table, and people will come over, visit, start playing with the application, and it's a really neat experience. Now, as to whether they're spill-proof, I think you have an iPad. We could try it out.
How about we use your tablet?
Well,
If I want to learn more about these types of apps, where can I find more information?
I'm not actually sure. I mean, I guess you could go check out 955 Dreams' apps and just try them out. That's the best I could say. I mean, I really like Band of the Day. I think that's a really compelling app. I asked him, how do you guys come up with such beautiful apps? And he says, well, we go completely custom from day one. They decide not to do native widgets. They completely build their UI from scratch, and he says that's what we do to make things extremely beautiful. Band of the Day has this beautiful calendar with the artwork for the artist in the background, and I don't know, it's just, those guys have something I don't have. Design skills.
I think you're pretty stylish. So you talked about OAuth 2, and I think, this is a talks about YouTube for your business. OAuth 2 is something that sounds a little scary to an average user. Why not use username and passwords? What's wrong with that? Can you just ask people to type in their credentials and be done with it? This is how things have been done for many years, right? So is it really necessary?
Yeah, so it turns out that client login, which uses a username and password, has a bunch of different failure modes. And because of all those different failure modes, we've actually deprecated it. So the nice thing about OAuth 2 is that it allows an application to do things on your behalf without you sharing your username and password in. So that makes it a lot more secure world.
Is it more difficult to program? Like, say I'm a developer, I want to use the YouTube API, and I know client name, client login, I know username and passwords. What do I need to do to actually integrate OAuth?
So I think that there's a couple different things that are helpful to do. The first is that we have really good documentation on this. I'm always amazed at how good Andy is at writing our tech docs for YouTube. So he has this one-page thing that explains OAuth 2. I read that. I didn't understand anything before that, and I read that, and it all made sense after that. We also have an OpenID demo, which is very related and shows you all the different steps, and you walk through that, and it explains it. And also, the client libraries tend to have samples of how to do this stuff. And so when I did my other webinar, based on Ruby on Rails, I actually took source code from the client library, and it walked me through all the different parts. And so, yeah, there is some learning curve, but it's worth it,
So what does the O stand for in OAuth?
I could never tell if it's authentication or authorization, but I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's authorization.
I see. I think it stands for oh man.
Oh man, yeah. And the two,
All right. So you mentioned Google I/O, and this is where I'm gonna try to get you to leak stuff because I know leaking is something that you never do, and I always want to get some more information. So which feature from the features that we're gonna be launching at Google I/O for YouTube, which one gets you most excited?
Well, geez. Are we talking about most excited in terms of ones that I'm going to use, or most excited in terms of ones that I'm afraid that other people in the company might not let us talk about?
Now you're getting too tricky, I think. So which one are you going to use?
Well, we have a talk where we're talking about the new YouTube Direct Lite, and it talks about soliciting videos from your users. And I've seen that talk, of course, in rehearsal, and I'm super excited about this. I think this is going to be a big deal. In fact, I would have to say this is pure dead brilliant.
Thanks. So, for folks that have watched the YouTube for Your Business, what are the next steps? If I want to learn more, I want to use YouTube for my business. If I want to advertise, if I want to build application developers, like where do I go to find more information about all the different places?
Yeah, so there's a bunch of different directions you could go. This talk kind of straddles the middle, but once you start in the middle, you kind of have to walk in a certain direction. So if you're a content owner and you're doing your own sitcoms or something like that, you probably want to go to youtube.com/partner and become a content partner. Now, if you're an application developer, you want to learn more about using the YouTube API, so you could go to youtube.com/dev. Either way, there's going to be a lot of videos at Google I/O, and you could watch all of those different videos, and we're going to be having them online after I/O, just in case you can't make it to I/O. And I think once you watch all those different videos, you'll know where to go next.
Cool. Thanks, JJ.
Oh, well, thank you. Man, I'm just so happy that the interns over there on the couch stopped making funny faces. I was going to crack up in the middle of the talk, but now we're almost done.
Great. I think this is all the questions that we have received.
Okay, thanks a lot, guys, for watching.
Thank you. And for those of you that will see us at Google I/O, really appreciate your feedback, and we'll talk to you later.
Okay.